Japanese longevity doctors just issued a warning that S spreading fast across Tokyo hospitals, and it completely contradicts everything Western diet experts have told us for the last 40 years. According to a 15-year study from the Tokyo Metropolitan Institute of Gerontology, most people over 50 are unknowingly training their bodies to store fat instead of burn it, even when they eat healthy or walk every day. The researchers call it metabolic mistiming, and it's quietly responsible for the stubborn belly fat that refuses to shrink. Here's what shocked me as a physician. In Japan, visceral fat is indeed treated like a cosmetic issue. It is treated like an emergency organ disorder. When that fat grows around your liver and intestines, it squeezes the very space your body needs to circulate blood and oxygen. The Japanese have a term for it: invisible aging. Because from the outside, you look fine, but inside, your organs are suffocating. So the Ministry of Health launched something unprecedented. They called it the Metabo Law. Since 2008, every adult in Japan between 40 and 74 is required to have their waist measured once a year. If it's above 33.5 inches for men or 35.4 for women, you're automatically enrolled in a metabolic health program. It's not punishment, it's protection. The goal is to catch visceral fat before it destroys the arteries, joints, and memory centers that keep you functional after 60. Think about that. In the West, we wait until people develop diabetes, heart disease, or fatty liver. Then we treat it. In Japan, they prevent it at the belt line. That's why they have the world's lowest rate of obesity and the highest number of centenarians. Yet here's the paradox that stunned Western doctors. The Japanese diet is high in carbohydrates, rice, noodles, even sweets. And still, visceral fat almost never accumulates the same way it does in the US, Canada, or Europe. So, what's the difference? It isn't what they eat. It's how they live around their meals. The same Tokyo research group uncovered 3 daily habits, simple, ancient rules that keep visceral fat from ever forming. Together, they call these the Metabo Method. No calorie counting, no supplements, no workouts that break your joints. Just the quiet consistency of Japanese lifestyle medicine. Rule number 1 is called Hara Hachi Bu, the 80% rule. It means you stop eating when you're almost full, not when you can't move. This isn't starvation, it's awareness. Your stomach's stretch receptors take about 20 minutes to tell your brain, "I'm satisfied." When you finish your plate in 10 minutes, you've already overeaten before your body even realizes it. Okinawan elders, some of the longest-living humans on Earth, still whisper the phrase "Hara Hachi Bu" before every meal as a small vow to their own longevity. Rule number 2 is called Yuru Aruki, slow, mindful walking. Studies show that walking at half your normal pace lowers impact on your knees by 68% while keeping your heart rate in the perfect fat-burning zone. It's not about speed, it's about consistency. The Japanese discovered that slow walking for 30 minutes after meals reduces visceral fat nearly twice as effectively as high-intensity cardio. And rule number 3 is called Tachi Zawari, the sit-to-stand ritual. In Japanese senior clinics, patients practice standing up from a chair 10 to 15 times, morning and evening. It takes only 5 minutes, yet predicts independence better than cholesterol or blood pressure. Because the muscles that lift you from a chair are the same ones that keep you from falling. And falling is the real killer after 60. These 3 habits form the backbone of the Metabo Method. The reason Japanese elders stay lean without gyms, supplements, or strict diets. Now, as a doctor, I can tell you, visceral fat doesn't melt from punishment. It melts from regulation. You don't force it off. You retrain your body to stop storing it. Each of these Japanese rules does exactly that. Hara-Hachi-Bu resets hunger hormones like leptin and ghrelin. Uru-Aruki activates slow-twitch muscle fibers that burn fat for hours after movement. Tachi-Zawari rebuilds core stability, improving insulin sensitivity through the largest muscle groups in your body. The result? Within just 2 weeks, many patients at Tokyo Metropolitan Hospital showed measurable drops in visceral fat scans, not because they exercised harder, but because they finally worked with their body instead of against it. Before we dive into how to perform each of these practices step by step, take a moment and look down at your own waistline. That measurement is an etude, anti-quantitative, entity a number. It is a story about how your body handles energy, stress, and recovery. If you're ready to rewrite that story the Japanese way, stay with me. Because in Part 2, we'll break down exactly how to practice Hara-Hachi-Bu, the 80% rule, and why eating less is an tool. To the point. Eating consciously is. If you've ever finished a meal feeling heavy, sleepy, or guilty, you already know what overeating feels like. But in Japan, especially in Okinawa, there's a quiet sentence that prevents that feeling before it ever begins. Every lunch, every dinner, you'll hear elders whisper, Hara-Hachi-Bu. It means belly 80% full. It is one of the oldest medical proverbs in the world, and modern science finally understands why it works. When you stop eating at 80%, you give your brain 20 precious minutes to catch up with your stomach. Digestion isn't instant, it's communication. Food stretches the stomach wall, and receptors send a signal through the vagus nerve to the hypothalamus, the control center that decides whether you are still hungry or satisfied. But here's the problem. That signal travels slowly. By the time it arrives, most Western plates are already empty. Japanese researchers at the National Institute of Health and Nutrition found that slowing down eating speed by just 20% reduced calorie intake by over 300 calories per meal without increasing hunger later. Over a year, that's nearly 12 kilograms of fat avoided, purely from patience. The practice begins with awareness. Sit down. Breathe once before touching your food. Look at the colors, the steam, the arrangement. This tiny pause tells your nervous system that nourishment, not survival, is coming. The Japanese call it itadakimasu, gratitude before action. This single second shifts your body out of stress mode, lowering cortisol and preparing digestion. Now, take your first bite. Chew until the texture changes completely. Taste, don't swallow. The goal isn't restriction, it's recognition. By the third or fourth bite, you'll notice something Western eaters rarely experience. Silence between cravings. That's the moment your body and brain synchronize. Here's the physiology. When you slow your pace, you stabilize insulin and ghrelin, the hormones that trigger hunger. Rapid eating spikes them chaotically. Slow eating flattens the curve. In Okinawa, elders average just 1.8 meals per day, yet maintain stable energy and lean physiques because they allow hormonal rhythm to dictate appetite instead of the clock. A 12-month study in Sapporo followed 200 adults over 60 who practiced Hara-Hachi-Bu. Average waist circumference dropped 4 centimeters, triglycerides fell 17%, and self-reported fatigue improved by nearly 40%. No supplements, no new exercise, just the act of stopping earlier. So how can you start today? Here's what I tell my own patients. Step 1. Downsize your dishes. Smaller bowls trick the visual cortex into believing the portion is larger. When you see fullness on the plate, you feel it in your stomach. Step 2. Use chopsticks. They slow hand-to-mouth speed naturally, Each bite becomes deliberate. A Western fork averages 8 bites per minute. Chopsticks cut that almost in half. Step 3. Pause halfway through. Put your utensils down, drink a sip of warm tea or water, and breathe. Ask yourself, would another 3 bites bring comfort or just habit? If it's habit, stop. Step 4. Finish with gratitude. Instead of chasing dessert, end with acknowledgement. I've had enough. That sentence, spoken quietly, reinforces leptin sensitivity, your fullness signal. The goal isn't to eat less forever. The goal is to retrain your perception of enough. Within 2 weeks, you'll notice that your meals naturally shrink by 15 to 20%, while energy stays constant. You will also notice that bloating disappears, sleep deepens, and midday cravings fade. Your metabolism isn't slowing down, it's becoming precise. Western culture glorifies abundance. Full plates, fast bites, empty awareness. Japanese longevity culture glorifies moderation. Calm plates, slow bites, full awareness. The difference isn't discipline, it's design. Everything from the size of a rice bowl to the pacing of conversation supports mindful eating. That design is why 90-year-olds in Okinawa maintain stable weight while many in the West gain a pound every year after 50. As a doctor, I've seen countless diets fail because they fight biology. Hara Hachibu works because it respects biology. It gives digestion, hormones, and the nervous system time to cooperate instead of compete. It's not another rule. It's a rhythm. And there's a hidden bonus. When you stop eating before you're full, you leave space for movement. In Japanese villages, elders don't collapse after lunch. They stand, tidy, walk, or garden. That gentle motion after eating accelerates fat metabolism and stabilizes blood sugar, which leads directly to the second part of the Metabo Method. Yuru Aruki, the slow walking practice that multiplies these benefits. So as you finish your next meal, remember the words that have guided an island of centenarians for centuries. Hara Hachi Bu. Stop at 80%, live 100% longer. If you've ever felt your legs stiffen after sitting too long, your body isn't just tired, it's quietly forgetting how to move. In Japan, doctors treat movement as medicine, not punishment. They don't tell seniors to run faster, they teach them to move longer. The key is a practice called Yuru Aruki, gentle walking. Japanese researchers at Shinshu University tracked more than 11,000 adults over 60 for 15 years. Those who practiced Yuru Aruki, walking at roughly half their normal speed, had 43% fewer mobility issues, lower blood pressure, and smaller waistlines. But the secret isn't the number of steps, it's the tempo. Western fitness culture pushes 10,000 steps fast. Japanese longevity science whispers 3,000 steps slow every day. At this slower pace, impact on the knees drops 68%, yet the heart rate stays in the perfect fat-burning zone, about 60 to 70% of maximum. Each step becomes smoother. The foot rolls, the ankle follows, and the knee glides instead of jolts. This deliberate slowness pumps synovial fluid, the natural oil of the joints, to every hinge of the body. Your joints stop grinding and start gliding. That's why Japanese doctors recommend Yuru Aruki after every meal. It's not exercise, it's digestion in motion. The gentle rhythm pulls blood back from the gut and prevents insulin spikes. After lunch, you'll often see elderly couples strolling side by side, hands clasped behind their backs, breathing quietly, letting the meal settle while the body metabolizes fat in silence. Half speed, full benefit. And because it's so gentle, Yuru Aruki requires no rest days. You can do it 7 days a week, in sandals or bare feet, on sidewalks or tatami floors. The goal isn't exhaustion, it's lubrication. The more you move slowly, the less you ever need to move painfully. But mobility isn't just about walking, it's also about rising. That brings us to the final element of the Metabo Method, Tachi-Zawari, the sit-to-stand ritual. In Japanese senior clinics, this is the single most prescribed movement. Why? Because the ability to stand from a chair without using your hands predicts your independence better than blood pressure, cholesterol, or even cognitive score. It's the purest test of life left in your legs. Here's how it works. Find a sturdy chair. Place your feet shoulder-width apart, heels under your knees. Lean forward slightly, press through your heels, and rise in 3 seconds. Then, take 4 seconds to sit back down. Inhale as you sit. Exhale as you stand. 10 repetitions, morning and evening. 5 minutes total. Tokyo Medical University followed 8,000 seniors for 5 years. Those who practiced Tachi-Zawari daily reduced fall injuries by 61% and maintained muscle tone equal to people 10 years younger. It's not about strength alone. It's about coordination, the dialogue between the brain and the body. Each repetition reteaches balance, stability, and confidence. Combine these two practices, and something remarkable happens. Slow walking keeps your metabolism burning. Sit-to-stand keeps your structure strong. Together, they form the movement rhythm that defines Japanese aging. Quiet, deliberate, endlessly repeatable. Now add one final layer, the mindset that ties it all together. Every morning, Japanese elders begin the day with kansha, gratitude. Not a grand ritual, just 30 seconds of noticing. The breath, the sunrise, the fact that they can move. Gratitude triggers serotonin, reduces cortisol, and sets the nervous system into healing mode. Science confirms what they've practiced for centuries. A grateful brain regulates metabolism and inflammation better than a stressed one. So when you wake tomorrow before you reach for your phone place, your feet on the floor, take one breath, and whisper a thank you. For the legs that still rise, the lungs that still fill, and the chance to keep training your body to remember youth. Because longevity isn't the absence of age, it's the presence of rhythm. Eat to 80%, walk at half speed, rise 10 times. That's the Japanese way to melt visceral fat, protect joints, and live independently well into your 90s. Your mobility 20 years from now is being decided by what you do today. So stand up slowly, walk gently, and live deliberately.